Welcome to Nonsense Season 4, Episode 21, our big story and our second show of the week. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm CJ Little.
This time we're looking at more Morks, fewer Mindies. Where are all the aliens? Up next.
That's easy. That's the clearance section of your local fish market.
Why would they be there? Are the aliens actually just stray cats?
If you think about it, that makes total sense. Because the one thing I would expect from a higher life form would be the ability to lick their own ass.
Okay, great. This is going to be a fun show, isn't it?
Right? I mean, we're pretty good, but if this was intelligent design, I feel like I would be able to lick my own ass, and I can't. The best argument for evolution is the fact that we are not flexible enough to reach our own asses.
Do I have to stay here for the recording of this? Can't I be replaced by an AI today?
Weird.
Okay, if aliens aren't real, how do you explain Jell-O, smart guy? Here we go.
And now everybody knows about my search history.
Last time on the Nonsense Big Story, we were discussing aliens and Drake's equation, among other things, which says there is a 97.6% chance that the aliens exist. It's 97.6. It's like this really precise number that we're supposed to believe is some true probability thing because it's an equation.
Yeah, if I've learned anything from watching Rain Man, is that you want your number to be very specific and exact, and people will believe you and leave you alone.
Okay, before we go into that, though, I want to say I trashed the Black-Scholes equation pretty good last time.
You did.
Because all my finance friends have all gotten on my back going, what are you talking about? What's wrong with Black-Scholes? What's your problem?
Sure.
First of all, I had to unfriend all of them because you believe in Black-Scholes because you believe in ghosts if you do. Let me just explain very quickly, very quickly the insanity of Black-Scholes.
Look, I'm a math guy. I like math.
Yes.
But I'm going to just not out for this one. You just do your thing. Just wake me up when you
promise it will be very...
Poke me with a stick.
Black-Scholes assumes that stock prices follow a smooth bell curve, and in reality, markets do nothing like that. They have fat tails. They have extreme, impossible crashes that happen way more than the math predicts. Also, one of the Black-Scholes variables is volatility, and I promise you, a highly volatile option has a very different value on the nadir of its volatility than on its peak. The value changes massively.
Nassim Talab has entered the chat.
Okay, so my point is, and it applies to Drake's equation too, is that just because you can mash a bunch of numbers together and do some math on those variables doesn't mean you actually end up with anything of value.
Definitely.
The 97.6%,
Definitely.
There's so much randomness that goes into getting that number that by the time you get that number, it's useless. We could just say it's a non-zero probability.
Okay, but your takeaway for the finance bros listening is buy crypto, right? That's your takeaway? I want to make sure I understand.
That's it, yes.
Okay, I was just confused. I nodded out there briefly. I got right back to it, though. Man, literally, we got to get back to aliens to be more grounded. That's the world we're in right now. We're so far off the path.
Go. Ready? Aliens, go.
I understand your general point. I feel like you want the math on the Drake equation to be better. And I would generally agree with you.
No, I want the result to sound less precise. I want the result to give me something that I can believe in, like it's non-zero.
But do you want like a high wall?
I don't want it to give me 97.6 because that sounds like there's some real value to that number, and there is not. That number is based on
would you be
great vagaries.
So would you be happier if there was like a high water and a low water mark? Like would that? Because that's pretty easy to do.
If there's a range?
Yeah.
No.
Isn't that what you just said?
The range is still non-zero. You can't get more precise than that.
You can get more precise than non-zero.
No, not really.
Yeah.
No.
The difference between 0.1% and 99.9% is pretty significant. Those are both non-zero.
Yes, but Drake's equation doesn't give us anything more precise than non-zero.
Drake's equation is basically saying there are so many, these are the odds of there being aliens, not just in the galaxy, but in other places besides Earth.
All of the universe.
It's not like you have a finite amount that you are saying, the Milky Way. What are the odds? We can sort of see the Milky Way. We can sort of count how many celestial bodies are in the Milky Way. That part's good. But we don't just stop there with Drake's equation. We're saying all of the galaxies everywhere. We don't even know.
We can see those things.
Well, how do you know we can see them all? You think you can see them all, but you have no idea if you're seeing them all. Or even better, you don't know if you are seeing them all.
Of course.
You may be seeing every single one, and the ones you're extrapolating that you aren't seeing, those may not exist at all. Well, space may only go out so far, and then beyond that, there's nothing.
All right.
There are no stars. I'm just saying 97.6 is an awfully specific number for something that we don't, that's infinite. Basically, it's infinite.
Okay.
Or not infinite. We don't know.
I understand. I get it. You want a round. Let's just call it 98%. Is that better? Can we move on? Just 98%?
That's better. That's the issue. My issue was the 10th of a percent.
Is that
exactly.
the 0.6? It was just too accurate.
Now we're good.
The takeaway I would like you to take from the Drake's equation is that it is extremely likely that there is other intelligent life in the universe. period, full stop. Like, can we get you there, or is it still not? Is that not feasible because there's too many?
Oh no, I'm
decimals?
totally down for that. But to get there, I'm gonna say there's a non-zero probability that there are aliens in the universe who are intelligent.
Great, because 98% is non-zero. So is 97.6.
It happens to be ridiculous that you try to give it that kind of precision from the variables that you put into the equation, which are all like, I think it's more than 3.
So you're happy at non-zero.
Yeah.
And I'm happy at something greater than that. Okay, we'll just move forward with that, because I feel that the math is unequivocally confirmed. It's impenetrable.
I know you think the math is impenetrable. It's an absolute perfect equation in every way. Yeah.
I've been trying for 47 years to penetrate the math, and it's just not. Just wiggles away from you. Before we talked about the math that you clearly don't enjoy.
No, I do enjoy it. I just think it's ridiculous.
About the geology, which I thought was fascinating, that there's actually we believe there to be some constraint on intelligent life as a function of geology, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Today, I feel like we should talk about a couple other things. Biology of the little green men, because that's something I think a lot of people not necessarily talk about, but just make assumptions about, and I think it's interesting to tear those apart.
If they're green men, is their blood copper-based instead of iron-based? Is that why they're green?
When they're born, they're like a coppery color, and then as they're exposed to the elements, they turn more green.
They tarnish,
They tarnish. Wow. That's pretty funny, actually. Like the other night, my little guy said, "Daddy, what color's your hair?" And I said, "Blonde." And he said, "No, it's not. It's blonde and gray." I corrected you. I just looked at him and I was like, really?
And you're also out of the will.
Yeah, exactly. Get back in your cage. Okay, so the biology of these guys, which I think is interesting.
Yes.
We should talk a little bit about the welcoming committee that we have established here on Earth, because that is interesting to think about as a good or bad
Carl
thing.
Sagan is responsible for all those welcoming flares we've sent up.
Yeah, well, I mean, flare/luncheon invitation.
Exactly. The buffet right here on this green planet right here.
Yeah, it's all you can eat.
Enjoy this one.
And then a little bit of chat. This is a much deeper topic, but if we have time, I think a little bit of conversation about why would some intelligent life form even want to come here? What could be some possibilities?
Sure.
I feel like those are the three things.
Once they see black shoals, they know, don't go there.
They don't skip.
Let's just skip that.
But the flan's really good. No, black shoals.
There's got to be another planet that has flan that doesn't have black shoals.
Just keep going.
All right, let's talk about biology. Evolution needn't mimic Earth's blueprint.
Yes.
Alien biology might swap carbon for silicone or water for ammonia, thriving in crushing pressures or frozen voids or 400-degree habitrails. Forget little green men. True extraterrestrials likely possess sensory arrays and metabolic pathways we can't imagine, life redefined by laws of a different sun.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what's interesting is their entire existence would be almost certainly completely different from ours.
Do you really think that?
Yes.
I've seen Star Trek.
Oh, no.
When you travel billions of miles through space, you end up with somebody who just looks like you.
Well, there's that brown guy on there, too.
One.
Yeah, one. It was the 60s. What do you want? I've also seen Star Wars, which is a little more diverse.
Yeah, and much more of a range of size and things that I would believe are...
Size and shape and things.
Yeah.
But if you go to the base of the biology, we'll talk about size here in a second.
What?
But I think something that's interesting, it seems most likely that some other intelligent species would not share a common ancestor with us. That seems most likely.
97.6% chance.
No. You're a dog with a bone. Here's the thing. It seems...
Talk faster. This show's 21 minutes.
I know. I'm trying, and you're just digging me holes here is what you're doing. It seems most likely that we evolved from matter only within our solar system. That seems most likely.
Yes.
The things that have crashed here were from billions of years ago. So we've evolved and we've continued to refine on things that were here. Very few things from outside of our solar system even come into our solar system.
Yes.
It seems most likely like we've evolved from things here. And that is what we know of all life on Earth. Mm-hmm. And arguably anything in the solar system we think would look very similar to us from a makeup perspective.
Sure.
And when you think about things outside of our solar system, extraterrestrial life, there's this thesis. People are like, oh, well, they could bring like some crazy infection like COVID that we've never seen before.
Sure.
I don't actually think that would be the biggest.
The DNA wouldn't line up with our DNA. Would never infect us.
Exactly. So I don't think the danger would be an infection in the traditional sense, but rather complete toxicity or even anaphylaxis. That would be the bigger, like it wouldn't be the flu that they bring us. It could be that the byproducts of their biology could be catastrophic for humans or for all life here.
Right. I dated anaphylaxis, by the way, in high school.
Yeah. I remember I met her brother Bruce once.
The whole Flaxis family is lovely.
There could be a world, I'm not saying this is the case, but there could be a world where alien microbes might just produce, like as a byproduct of their existence, cyanide.
Sure.
That could just be a natural byproduct of their metabolism, which means their presence could be toxic regardless of their intent.
Yeah.
Like they could just show up with like a really nice bunt cake that they want to give us.
We come in peace. release.
Yeah.
Right, sure.
And then they exhale and we all die.
Sure.
Like, that's not science fiction. That could be a thing. That could actually be a thing.
They inhale oxygen, but they exhale cyanide.
Okay. You don't know if they inhale oxygen. I don't know. I mean, they could just sweat out cyanide. I don't know. I've been to 24-hour fitness. Some of those guys don't smell very good.
No, true.
So maybe it's cyanide. I'm not sure. I don't get close enough to find out, is my point.
Sure.
So we don't know. And our immune system, by the way, being exposed only to things that have been on our planet so far, could react with some sort of anaphylactic response to just a single spore or cell from one of these things. Like,
sure.
It might not even be cyanide. It might just be their makeup, just their cells.
Sure.
Could be something that are terrible. Now, by the way, this is the happy outcome. That's the one where I'm like, oh, okay. They just sneeze cyanide and we die. There's this unhappy outcome that is commonly referred to as the biological gray goo. Have you heard about this?
No, but I love that that's the happy outcome is they just exhale and we all die.
Yeah, no, that's the good one. That's the one that you're like, yeah, that sounds good. There's a possibility where an alien microorganism could be capable of breaking down hydrocarbons or glucose without needing any specific receptors, which what that means is they could be like a non-selective decomposer, which means just their existence could break down human tissue at a fundamental chemical level.
Yeah.
So your immune system wouldn't even have a chance. It would just be like, and that's why they call it the gray goo. Like you would just dissolve us into some pile of nothingness.
Sure.
And there is, now this is where you get a little sci-fi, where you could be like, well, maybe they're just here to harvest raw elements, and that's just what they do. They just come in and they sneeze, and then you just melt like the witch in Wizard of Oz.
Sure.
That could be a real thing. That's what I would call the unhappy outcome.
Okay.
That could be a thing.
I think they're both pretty unhappy, but okay.
I don't know. I'd rather take my shot trying to avoid the cyanide than the magic melting goo that you go near and you just melt down into nothing.
Okay, but that's all still carbon-based life forms you're talking about. What about non-carbon-based life forms? You've got to have other things that you can make life out of, right?
Well, we don't know. My intuition is yes. Yeah. And it seems like it's not a certain no. It seems like it's a possibility. We suspect if you're not carbon-based, the next most likely thing you'd be based on would be silicone.
I was going to say aluminum, but silicon's probably better.
It's pronounced aluminium, first of all, you heathen. Silicone would be the next most likely
element on the periodic table. It's literally one row down.
Thank you. We make these assumptions. This is part of what I want to talk about here in the biology. Yeah. We make these assumptions that extraterrestrial life would follow some sort of humanoid body plan.
I didn't assume that. I have no assumption of that.
But most people do. I know you don't, but most people do. Most people make an assumption that and if you think about what you've seen in science fiction over the past 200, 300 years.
Because casting is easier. How many people can you call out and get five-legged creatures?
It's big casting. Big casting got their hand in there and said, give them 2 arms. Meanwhile, they're fighting against Big Costume, who wants it the other way. No, but generally speaking, we think of when we think about aliens, you're like, they're going to be green and have longer arms, but there's still this sort of anthropocentric bias. We still think you're going to look like us because it's what we know. Head, 2 arms, 2 legs. But that makes no sense.
Parallax is pretty useful.
Parallax?
2 eyes.
Sure.
Until you see a fly's eye and what they can do. And then you're like,
you see a fly, you know what's better? 1,000 eyes.
Wow, I got gypped. Those eyes are amazing.
Earth, we've all sort of evolved from a similar path. So we have similar structures, even in unrelated species, right? The eyes of octopi and humans.
Still very similar. Light-sensitive cells. Yeah, and they look similar.
Because we share sort of a common ancestor and we're all sort of this carbon-based life form. So when you think about independent origins or origins that are back billions of years, all bets are off. You're starting over.
Yeah.
Silicone is the most frequently cited alternative for carbon, as you mentioned earlier, because its ability to form 4 bonds and its abundance in planetary crusts. There's a lot of silicone out there. Mm-hmm. And as you know, most recently, anything with silicone in it is now 4 times as expensive. So all of the aliens have gotten more expensive too.
Wow.
Certainly.
That's remarkable.
But here's where it gets crazy, because the only thing we've ever known in real life is carbon-based life forms. If you think about the physical constraints of silicone-based life forms, they'd be radically different. Mm-hmm. A primary issue is the oxidation of silicone. So as a carbon life form, right, we inhale oxygen, we exhale CO2.
Yeah.
A gas dissipated easily, no problem. Happens. We have a cycle. Easy.
Sure.
Silicone life utilizing oxygen, I'm not saying that it would, but if silicone life utilized oxygen, it would produce silicone O2.
Sand.
Which would be solid quartz or sand.
Yeah.
Sand. Their byproduct would be sand.
Kevin, you're blowing sand. Get out of my house. I can't clean this up.
Every day my kids come home from school, their shoes are full of sand from the sandbox. I feel like it would just be that, right? Like you invite over your neighbor from the extra galaxy and they sneeze and it's just sand everywhere on your coffee table.
Well, no, it would fill up your house. It would slowly fill up your house. You couldn't live in because it's a solid. It's not a gas.
It'd be like the scene in Real Genius, but instead of popcorn, it's sand, just sand coming up, blowing out the window.
Yeah, right. Eventually you'd have no room.
It'd be really hard to hide them. How would you hide hide one of your little aliens, the sand's just pouring out everywhere.
They'd have to live outside.
That's kind of insane to think about. Again, we have no idea of knowing if that's the case or not, but just of what we understand of chemistry, that's what would happen. What it likely necessitates is a completely different respiratory system. Like we don't even know, like it could utilize high temperature solvents or even molten salt to just keep their metabolic byproducts in a liquid state. Yeah. They could just be like living rocks or crystals. They could just have extremely slow metabolic rates and a total lack of fluid. So no soft tissue like what we're used to that's associated with sort of the carbon-based life forms of this planet.
And women.
That's carbon, silicone. I feel like we're down a crazy path on that. Okay. Let's just talk about size for a minute. The silicone carbon thing is interesting to me. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around. Yeah. Thinking about the size of the aliens, like their actual physical shape and size.
Yes.
I remember the scene in Men in Black when they're trying to find like the galaxy and the whole galaxy was in the cat's collar. Sure. I always love that because it's such a fascinating example of how different our sizes could be.
It's the world that lives on the puffball weed in Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah, exactly. We suspect, and really our detection methods are tuned to civilizations that operate on roughly the same size and time scale as humanity, because again, that's all we really know. It could be that, while physical laws are universal, we suspect they're universal, you could have this life that's emerged with completely different scale because of the system that they're in. For example, we just talked about the collar thing, right? On a high gravity world or in environments where resources are atomic, a civilization could exist on the scale of a terrestrial microscopic colony. Like the entire interstellar empire could fit inside a single asteroid.
Of course.
Right? The whole thing. Like their entire existence could be inside like a single asteroid, which we wouldn't be able to see, right? Nothing in SETI would give us the ability to see that because we're not looking for something that's that small. Sure. Now go the other way. What if you go to like the macro scale organisms, like massive size? We have low density environments. It could be that like a quote organism could move so slowly that a thought takes centuries by our time. I'm getting that way, by the way. I know, we're all getting there, aren't we? But like it would render their communication indistinguishable from background cosmic noise, because a single thought that you and I could have in minutes or seconds or minutes, hours sometimes, could take centuries. So you'd have no way to process that as humans. You'd have to have SETI running for 1,000 years to get the output of their thought. Sure. Those are not unlikely. Those are possible. We don't really know what's come out. So the size could be all over the place.
97.6% chance.
All right, dog with a bone. So they could be really big or they could be really small. That's my point. And they're probably not shaped like us. They're probably not the same size.
Thinner, better looking?
Fatter, worse looking.
Really?
I suspect there's roughly a 98% chance that aliens would not look attractive to us.
Okay.
I'm going to call it the little equation. Okay. Pretty sure the answer is going to be 98%.
The rounded version is the little equation.
The rounded version. Oh, it's funny for two reasons.
Exactly.
Yes.
We are trying desperately, though, to contact whatever is out there.
Yes.
It's not like we've sat around here quietly. We've literally...
Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I don't know. We have literally sent spaceships with music and pictures of Earth. We've hawked the place like we're bad real estate agents. Yeah. We have broadcast our DNA in binary. We've etched our anatomy into golden records. And we've flung radio waves into the void. We're a species shouting hello across the light years, desperate for an echo. It's our grandest gamble, a cosmic message in a bottle, proving we were here and we mattered.
Well, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I had pen pals, and that was always weird. Like, you're just sending a thing off to somebody in a foreign land. You have no idea what you're going to get back. Yeah. And now we're doing this cosmically. Yeah. I love the idea. I love the idea of, in our lifetime, getting to observe or even meet extraterrestrial life. Love it.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. We don't even know the odds of their size or their shape or their color. What are the odds that they're going to be as excited to see us in a friendly manner?
What if they just eat the Earth like it's one piece of little popcorn? And they just pop it in their mouth and the whole thing is gone.
Well, it's fun. No, you're just in the digestive system. It's fine. I don't know that it's a great idea to send out the message. I guess they're probably going to find you anyway, so maybe it doesn't really matter. I don't know what they would think of the Earth at all. Like what would they want? And this is where I think the welcoming committee is mildly concerning. So you were talking about like Voyager, right? I think you were referencing Voyager. Like that was the disc that we sent out.
Right.
And I'm not even sure we did a good job on Voyager. So what year was Voyager? Voyager was like the 70s?
It was a long time ago. Give us a break. We did the best we could.
It had no mention of reality TV. Well, for those that don't know, the Voyager, we made like an album, like on a gold disc, right? Something that we thought would be
golden record.
Yeah, this golden record, and we encoded a sample of humanity.
And why gold?
I think it was the most likely to survive. I think it was the most durable thing we could put out there. I love the idea that we made an attempt. This is all Sagan, right? I love that we made an attempt to try to encode a sampling of humanity on this disc. Yeah. In hindsight, folks say, well, we were overly rosy, right? We omitted all the bad stuff. There's no talk about wars or diseases or the environmental crisis that sort of defines explains our species. It was just like all the good stuff.
Because we're selling the place. Again, I said, like, we're hawking bad real estate. I mean, we're just painting the rosy pictures. We're not talking about the bad plumbing.
Yes, rosy pictures, but also some of it is like discombobulated, right? I think they encoded something like 55 languages on the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's really a map. Like I could expect someone that listens to this thing doesn't know anything about humanity to just be like, what's wrong with these people? Like, how do you talk? You got 55 non-congruent languages. It just sounds like chaos.
But also sound effects like tigers roaring and oceans and things like that.
Totally.
With no real context, those things could be, what am I hearing? What is they're trying to say to me?
Exactly.
It'd be awesome if the one thing they could understand on the records was whatever the tigers were saying, things we don't even understand, and they totally get that. That's the part they get. Oh, he wants a pizza.
There's one bit, track 63, that was just 1200 baud handshake. That they get perfectly. Everything else, they're just like, nope. They're like, oh, E71.
Wow, these people talk slowly.
Oh, that's us. Yeah, they're cosmic giants. For them, we're talking fast. Yeah, what else? There's some other crazy stuff on there. I think we encoded some pictures on there. There's like 100 plus pictures that we encoded on there.
Yeah.
I don't know what they would make of it, but I think more the point that we sent it out was more odd, right? Like I think you want to know the stranger that you're about to give your phone number to before you send it to them.
It's just a message in the bottle. It's nothing. They're casting it out, thinking maybe some civilization at some point picks this up and can somehow get a little picture of who we were, or maybe even who we are, but more likely who we were.
Well, yeah, but we also gave them a map.
We did.
We told them where we are, right? I think we gave the sun relative to like 14 pulsars so that they could find us.
Yeah.
I don't think that's great. Like you put your message in the bottle to be like, oh, I live at 123 Main Street. I leave the back door unlocked. Come over anytime.
Keys under the mat.
Keys under the mat. Yeah. Asleep on my stomach. Terrible. Like, why would we say this?
I don't remember. Carl Sagan could tell you. He's passed away, but he's the one who knew.
I think the intent was we're optimistic about extraterrestrial life and that we want to see them. But like that whole thing could just look like, when you go to, you go to the store and you come out and there's like one of those flyers tucked on your car and it's like for the all you can eat Korean barbecue. It's like $18.99 all you can eat Korean.
Sure.
Like this could be that. This could just be a lunch flyer that we send out into space.
Well, of course.
That they're going to look at. Yeah. Like those guys look delicious and they're just going to come here and eat us or turn us all into gray goo to harvest our carbon atoms.
You have a very dark view of the aliens.
Well, no, I'm just saying we don't know. By the way, if they can get here, then there is certainly no defense we have against them. Period. Full stop.
Okay.
Like there's going to be some MAGA warrior out there with their pepper spray and then they just get eaten.
But it's possible that they have no technology. The only technology they've been able to create is a solar sail. And as their stars supernovas and as their last hope must just project themselves out into space, they sail to. They don't have any other technology. That's all they have is a solar sail. Only thing they were able to figure out.
Sure.
And they come out to Earth. And so now, no, they're not going to destroy us. They're going to be like, we need a place to stay. I'm so sorry. Is there a place we can rent?
I love you're like, they don't have the metric or imperial systems. All they have is a small nuclear reactor. That's all they have. They haven't mastered anything
figured
else.
Out. That's all they figured out.
Just the solar sail. Somehow they're able to transit galaxies.
Yeah.
But no, all they have is a solar sail. That's all they have.
That's it.
And they're just looking for a cup of sugar because they want to make cookies for their grandmother. That's it. That's all they want. That's all they want.
But you do raise indirectly a great question, which is why would they even want to come by?
Yeah.
Why would they bother to come by? Even if they knew there was life, and once they'd seen the brochure from the Voyager, you'd think they'd go, there's other places we can probably want to visit first.
There's a lot of places we want to go first. We heard the pressure on Venus is quite high. We kind of want to go there.
Let's do that.
Let's do that before we go here. Now, I mean, it's fun to postulate why they would want to come here. Certainly nobody knows.
It's totally possible they aren't tourists. They're actually historians, and they want to come and learn about this crazy laboratory of biological improv that is the Earth.
Sure.
In a sterile post-scarcity cosmos, our messy cocktail of ambition, art, self-destruction, it's the ultimate novelty, so they're interested in it from that perspective. It's totally possible. Instead of just people who need some place to go, they're curious about what's this weird thing happening. Third rock from the sun, whatever's happening out there, that's the weird one. Go to that one. So they could be interested in coming to witness the spark of a species that builds cathedrals while still learning to share. It's the odd combination that makes us interesting.
Yeah, we're still learning to share. That's. I mean, we suspect they're probably not here for resources. That seems unlikely to me because why would you come here for resources?
An awful lot of other planets would have more interesting resources.
We're also a giant gravity pit. We're a big, heavy planet. If you need water and precious metals, you're better off going to the asteroid belt.
Yeah.
It's much easier to collect that there. So I don't think they would come here for that, at least not for the raw materials. I think it's interesting though. You're talking about the nature of what we've built. It it could be that something like, and I think this was the physicist, what's his name, Paul Davies, had suggested that it could be culture itself, like the information, the culture, the self-understanding could be the rarest commodity in the universe. And that might be coming, you're trying to understand that from us. Who knows?
Or not. We could be the least cultured civilization in the universe, too.
But isn't it crazy to think about if we were the most cultured civilization in the universe? We're like, oh, we're doing pretty good.
I guess, except my hunch is if you are able to manage intergalactic travel, you probably have evolved much more culture than we have. The two kind of have to happen hand in hand.
You would think.
Yeah.
Don't know. But we also might be way far behind, right? To your point, if they are, if they have developed farther and they are many iterations beyond where we are, they might want to come back to look at a primitive species, kind of like going to the zoo.
Sure.
And just see how we interpret the cosmos.
So much like going to a zoo.
I think that's the more likely answer, is that we are like the galactic zoo, that they just want to observe, which they might be doing now. Who knows? We emit all this stuff. It's not like the light doesn't not bounce off us.
Yeah.
I mean, there is the presumption. This is the sci-fi presumption that everyone, I think, always makes or ends up coming to, is like, oh, it's all just a giant Trojan horse. We've seen this pattern before. It's the Mars attacks, right? They're going to come here and be like, oh, hey, we're your friends. We come in peace. But really, they're just here to harvest our pearls.
Sure.
I still think, not just because of the Drake equation, I still think it is not extremely likely. I think it's certainty that there's other intelligent life out there. I just don't know, one, if it's alive currently or not, and two, I highly suspect we will never ever be able to see it or contact it. That's my takeaway from this.
All right, we have to get out of here, but quickly before we do, have you seen or read anything good this last week?
As we mentioned earlier in this episode, 1977's Voyager 2 space probe carried a phonographic disc with messages of peace, inviting alien civilizations to Earth.
Did we keep a copy of that record here? Is there some way we can hear or go play with whatever's on that?
Not only do we know what's on it, I own a remake of it. They remade it. A group raised some money about 10 years ago to remake them, and I actually own one. It's sitting on my desk right here.
Oh, that's cool.
One of the coolest things I own.
Can you play it back? What is it?
Well, they give you all the digital content, so I have all the content on it digitally, and then you have the actual encoding of the disc itself in like a 33 form. It's kind of cool.
Was it encoded digitally, or was it an analog encoding on the disc?
I'm pretty sure it's a digital encoding.
Interesting.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Anyway, in this version of the future, a probe is intercepted by an alien ship traveling through space, which then sends a scout vessel to establish first contact with Earth.
Yeah.
Instead of greeting the vessel, though, the U.S. government, big surprise, does what we do and shoots it down.
Oh, shoot.
Crashes in Wisconsin.
Of course it does.
The lone alien occupant, looking like a floating ball of energy, finds the home of a recent widow. The alien uses a lock of hair from her deceased husband to clone a body for himself, from which he performs miraculous feats.
Fantastic.
He sends a message to his people stating that Earth is hostile and his spacecraft was destroyed. He arranges to rendezvous with them in 3 days' time, coercing the widow of the body he's taken over into taking him to Arizona to rendezvous with his people.
You just gibberish. Have you lost your mind?
Do you know the film I'm speaking of?
That's it. I knew there was some puzzle that you were laying out for me.
Do you remember?
It's a film I haven't seen. And
really?
You know I haven't seen it.
Really?
So I like that you give me clues to a film you know I haven't seen.
I don't know you haven't seen it. Have you really not seen it?
I've never seen Starman.
Wow. This is Starman. This is 1984's, they call it like a science fiction romance drama, starring Jeff Bridges. I can't believe you haven't seen Starman.
I've told you 100 times I haven't seen it.
What's your name? You're Jeff, right?
Yeah, this week.
I don't remember that. I really kind of love this film. I haven't seen it in years, but it's just so bizarre. And I make references to Starman all the time because he has some incredible lines in there that I think are fascinating.
Yes, of course.
I didn't know you haven't seen it.
I've seen clips from it, but I try not to see it because one day I'm going to sit down and watch it from start to finish and probably really enjoy it.
I will do it with you. It's not a very long film. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. I don't know if it holds up. I'll either watch it with you or separately. But my recommendation is 1984's Starman. Really fun. Love Jeff Bridges.
Of course.
It's a fun film. It's a little crazy, but it's a fun film.
One of the other ones I like of his is Against All Odds. I think that one's good too.
Haven't seen it.
Really?
No.
Oh, we're going to have a movie night.
Let's do it. I'm down for both of those.
That sounds amazing. Listen, my rec is Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Ryland Grace wakes up millions of miles from home with 2 dead crewmates and 0 memory. As his past slowly returns, so does a terrifying reality. A sun-eating parasite called astrophage is dimming the solar system, triggering a terminal ice age.
This doesn't sound happy.
A disgraced scientist turned middle school teacher, Grace is humanity's accidental last hope. The mission shifts from a solo suicide run into a cosmic partnership when he encounters Rocky, a 5-legged alien facing the same extinction level crisis from his planet.
Wow. I guess when you're a common foe,
you have a common cause, sure.
Yeah, sure.
The duo uses math and music to help bridge the gap between their species. Grace soon discovers that saving 2 worlds requires more than a high IQ. It requires the ultimate sacrifice for a friend. I'm telling you in advance, you need to turn a blind eye to some of the science, but the film is an absolute delight. Project Project Hail Mary in theaters now.
Is there some Aerosmith that plays over the top of this?
No, but it's good. Oh. Think more E.T.
Oh, okay.
And the science is a little E.T. too. I mean, if you can believe that the record player with the saw blade is communicating to E.T.'s friends, that's not quite that bad. Modern science is sort of a character in the film. They needed some consultants on the film. That's all I'll say. There's a moment where they put in a centrifuge 2 tubes so they can spin them around in the centrifuge as you do with centrifuges.
Yeah.
Tap the space bar. They do not put them on opposing sides of the centrifuge because you have to balance.
Sure.
And for some reason, it manages to still work, even though the filmmakers don't seem to really understand how a centrifuge works.
Sounds like an homage to Stuxnet when we blew up the Iranian centrifuge system 20 years ago.
Forget all that. Just go in and just enjoy the ride. It's great fun.
I'll watch it. All right. Project Hail Mary. I'm in.
That is the episode.
Thank you for joining us for all this nonsense. A truly terrible podcast from our awful company. Visit us on the web at nonsense.productions. I'm CJ Little.
I'm Jeff Parker.
If you like this program, please follow, download, subscribe, and like it. Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, AntennaPod, iHeartRadio, Spotify, my favorite Overcast, or wherever you may get your podcasts from.
Nonsense uses 7-Zip, a high-compression file archiver. Open source and completely free for personal and commercial use with no hidden fees or expiring trials. A simple interface lets you get things done fast and secure your data with its strong AES 256 encryption. Available on every modern and not-so-modern platform, 7-Zip. Check it out.
You nerd. We'll be every Tuesday and Thursday morning for more nonsense. Please join us. What are they going to be the most impressed by?
Are equations for the probability of their existence. Pretty sure that's going to be it.
Right. They're going to be like, you're off by 2.4%, you idiots. The fact that they're here means it's 100%.